Hey guys, Jason here. Welcome back to the channel where I talk about horror, science fiction, fantasy novels, and give you guys my thoughts on what I'm reading at the time. Now, if you're new here, please subscribe and feel free to leave a comment or a like on this video if you enjoy what I'm talking about. Now, today I'm doing a book review. We're talking about The Sucking Pit by Guy N. Smith. This is the first book that I've read by Guy N. Smith. And I found this book at a secondhand shop. It was pretty cheap, and I picked it up because I had heard that it was pretty good. There's even a blurb on the front by Stephen King. It says the all-time pulp horror classic title. So I thought, yeah, check it out. I like this kind of stuff. I like vintage horror, and I like whatever, just blood and guts. And and there was that in abundance, but overall, I did not think this book was very good. I think I gave it a 1 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I knew going into this book that it wasn't going to be like some kind of great, like I knew it was a pulpy, trashy novel. Like I knew that, but I was interested in it because I had heard it was great and I had heard whatever. And so the good things about it. Let's talk about those. It was violent. There was lots of sex. So if you're looking for just like a book that's just gonna, you're not gonna have to think very much, and it's just gonna have those things. Then this might be the thing for you. Now, what it lacked was any sort of plot, any sort of character development, like at all, and just generally, it just was like it just wasn't that great. The writing was decent. It wasn't like it was fine. It was I understood what was going on, and it wasn't anything that like jumped out at me as like bad writing. But yeah, it just wasn't. It wasn't super. It wasn't very good. What's this book about? This book is about a girl. Her name, God, I forgot. Her name is Jenny. The characters are literally so forgettable that I can't even remember their names. The story is about our main character. Her name's Jenny. She is apparently a nice girl. And she gets possessed by this gypsy spirit. Her uncle dies, and I guess his soul or something like possesses her. And he's into like gypsy magic and stuff, and he runs with this like gypsy dude. His name's Cornelius. He does weird like spells and things like that, or like potions and stuff to like give him powers. And basically, there's this pit. It's called the Sucking Pit, and that's where they bury their gypsies when they die. That's basically it. My gripes of this story is that there isn't a story. It's literally just there's this pit. The gypsies put their dead in it. The gypsies are bad, and this girl, her boyfriend, tries to stop them. Like that's the whole story. So as far as plot goes, there's like really not a lot, and on top of that, we don't know what the significance of the Sucking Pit is. There's like some vague sort of talk about like there's like some kind of spirit. They call it the Master, that like requires sacrifices or something. It's not super clear. And so these gypsies just throw their dead in there, and then but also they use it to just dispose of bodies when they want to. So yeah, I mean there's not really much plot to speak of. The characters are incredibly flat. Like I was saying, Jenny, the main character, she's a nice girl that becomes a bad girl and is obsessed with sex and murder. Except we never see her be nice. Like she gets possessed like right at the beginning of the book, and the only time we ever know that she was like a cool, like a normal person before, is because people tell us that she was. And like, I don't know, it's very telly. Because, eventually her boyfriend comes and is like, hey, Jenny, I'm here. And she's like, fuck you, dude, you suck. And he's like, what's wrong with you? Like, a week ago we were going to get married, and now you're being crazy. And she's like, I hate you. Get out of here. I'll kill you. And it's just really strange. It doesn't really make sense. All the characters are kind of like that. Even her boyfriend is very one-dimensional. Like, the only thing we know about him is that he's a reporter. That's it. That's all. That's the only information that we know about him. He's a reporter. They were going to get married. And then she went to her uncle's, and now they're not going to get married. On top of that, like, okay, so there's like this part. Well, a lot of the story hinges on like her, like, seducing this married man, right? Can't remember his name, and it doesn't really matter. But she seduces this guy, and because she wants to stay, he owns like the property that she's staying at, so she wants to stay there. And so she starts fucking him. And he's like, yeah, this is great. And then, so obviously she's using him. And then his wife and her old boyfriend, like, start to get romantic. It's weird. They, like, meet in the woods because they're both spying on the house that they're at, right? That Jenny and her husband are at. They're spying because they want to find out what's going on. And they bump into each other, and they, like, instantly are, like, into each other. And, like, he, like, the reason that he, like, likes her is because she looks like Jenny. And I thought that was funny. And so and then the next day they're like in love. And they're like, oh yeah, let's go kill them and stop this gypsy curse thing that's going on, and then we'll run off together and we'll get married. Like, literally, they had just met. They just met, and they were planning on doing this. So, kind of weird. Almost, I mean, it's like very plot convenience, because then some of the stuff that, like, the main reason that, like, her boyfriend continues to try to like, confront them later is because the wife is in trouble, and so he goes and he tries to save her, like some very damsel in distress kind of crap. And yeah, and then also, I'm just gonna spoil this because it's really dumb. The end was really stupid. The boyfriend shoots Cornelius, who's like the head gypsy guy, and saves his not his girlfriend, but the wife of the guy who saves her, his new girlfriend, and his old girlfriend Jenny gets away, and she's like the ringleader, she's like the real evil one, and so she gets away, and she's driving down the road. And she doesn't notice a car in the road and crashes into it and dies. Like, that's how the story ends. That's how the conflict is resolved. It was very Deus. It was very out of nowhere and very stupid. I didn't like it. Didn't really like this book at all. The things that are good are, it's violent. And there's a lot of sex. And yeah, so I mean, if you're going into it and you don't want to, if you just are like, I don't want a story, I don't care about that, I just want to read a book that's violent and has a lot of sex, then maybe this is the perfect book for you. But I just couldn't, I need to at least understand what's going on. I didn't know anything about any of the characters the entire time, and that's fine. Now, there's an old saying, and it applies mostly to movies, but it applies here as well, that if you can't make it good, at least make it short. And I'll tell you what, it was short. It was like 100 pages. And so, there you go. So yeah, The Sucking Pit. I don't recommend it. I maybe will read more Guyan Smith. I don't really know. I don't know if all of his stuff is this bad. or if this is just like, because this was his second novel, so maybe it was just like he was very amateurish, and maybe his stuff gets better later on in his career. I don't know. If you've read his stuff, please let me know in the comments, because I'm curious if all of his stuff is as bad as this. Also, hey, there's a sequel to this book. It is called The Walking Dead, and it's hard to find. It is expensive. I was looking at them on eBay, and they were like, the cheapest one I found was like $35. And I mean, I don't want to spend that kind of money really, but if the sequel is worth it, if anyone out there that's watching this has read the sequel to this book and is like, no, it's worth it, you should read it, please tell me in the comments, because I'm curious. I'm not going to totally write off Guyan Smith altogether, because like I said, his writing wasn't bad. It was just the execution was not good. In fact, I almost thought, like, if this book had been a little bit longer, like if he had spent a little bit of time to develop the main character, to develop the story in a way that was meaningful, like to let us know what the sucking pit actually is, why it's important, all of these things, it maybe would have been good. So I almost think it was maybe a bad book because of how short it was, not the other way around. But please like and subscribe if you like, me talking about books like this. I mostly cover horror and fantasy and some science fiction. So let me know in the comments what you think, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.